audience is rooting for the two of you to work this through.
Yeah.
Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then you have to create characters that we feel like are good candidates for each other.
Mhm.
So that means you need to create characters that are fun.
Okay.
Okay? So it felt to me like maybe you could have a little bit more fun in creating some colorful characters here that make you light up.
Yep.
I mean, there's certain things that happen, right? When we see two people together, why they get together and the interaction and the exchange between them. You know, it's obvious. And I'm not seeing that right now. There needs to be some magic
Okay.
between the two of you. You know, if it's, you know, when you say that line, you know, I'm glad that I was afraid you're gonna get mad at that. You know, that's almost, I should almost feel like this is your way of not getting into an argument
Mhm.
because this is what happens.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna immediately shut it down in an attempt that she'll just go with it.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels to me like that is kind of like a fun thing about an example of the way their relationship works,
Mhm.
how they interact with each other. We also want to figure out how these characters are different,
Mhm.
like their personalities. You know, is one person more of a sort of quiet, introverted person, protective? The other one's a little bit more animated, an extrovert. I mean, you said it was a comedy. Okay. I'm on board with that. I mean, I don't know what it's from, but I could see the argument made that this has to have a certain lightness to it. But, I mean, the only issue that I'm having is how serious of an accident it was. Because if we're dealing with a motorcycle accident and you got hurt, there's a certain gravity to that.
Mhm.
There's a certain weight to
Mhm.
that situation that isn't funny at all. So is this a comedic scene? Is there a lightness to this scene? Or is this a drama with some funny moments? Or is it really just sort of a light comedy with some heavy moments? So you have to kind of figure out what is the thrust of this? What is the goal here? Is the goal to move the audience and get them to feel for the situation, to get them to feel for your characters, to connect? Or is the goal to kind of amuse us and also connect? Is there kind of like light chuckles in the audience? Or is it more like we're kind of like just sort of enthralled and moved? What do you think? What's funny about the scene?
You were saying like how different the characters are, kind of like the strange bedfellows.
Yeah, that's a good for you for figuring that out, by the way. Yeah, that's good. So the strange bedfellows joke is also just sort of the differences between men and women
Mhm.
and how they deal with things.
Yeah.
And we could see that here.
Mhm.
Fun of the scene, if we're saying it's a comedy, I would start the scene in a very different way. Very sort of loving, nurturing, kind of like, you know, you started with your head on his shoulder and your arms here and you're watching TV and it's like a really nice moment. Like my boyfriend is selling his motorcycle, he's healthy again, and you're going, oh God, I gotta tell her.
Yeah.
And that way you also give yourself somewhere to fall from.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does this give you a little bit more clarity?
Yes.
What do you think it is, before I let you go, what do you think it is that gave you the clarity tonight?
For
This scene. What did we discuss? What did we go through tonight that made it more clear? What I'm trying to do is, because eventually you'll be out there auditioning,
Mhm.
especially if you're auditioning for commercials where you wouldn't even have time to get me to help you. You'd be
Mhm.
getting the audition there.
Mhm.
And you have to go in the parking lot and work on it. You're going to have to do some of this stuff on your own without my help.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to get you to do is figure out the mechanism of how we got there today, so that you can do that yourself. What was it, you think?
I think like that to like create like a magic or like that magic in the scene and not be like a flat character,
Uh-huh.
like have a colorful character that like comes to life.
Yeah.
And not to just get so concentrated
In the
on
lines.
words.
Ah, so the kind of delivering the lines as written.
Yeah.
What about the substitution thing?
Oh, that helps a lot.
Because I can just tell you from my own experience, that helps me a lot. And it's not that I'm using those events to act. I'm just using them to give me a vibe of how it could feel similar.
Mhm.
And it would have helped you a lot here had you done that.
Yeah.
Had you said, you know, when I was in a relationship with somebody or when I saw somebody who had a relationship, I knew they had to bring something up. What was that emotion? Right? And wouldn't it be more fun to see my character happy in the scene, really having a great night, to set up for when he's going to tell me this? Because then we start way up here and then you're just going to go. Make sense?